Ominous voices echoed across the ruined field as a shadowy figure taunted the frightened group, saying they only needed to work together to survive. A powerful-looking man struggled to lift his blade, admitting in a strained voice that victory was impossible and he could not even raise his weapon. A focused young man extended sharp claws from his gloves as his opponent gripped his sword, both bracing for the clash ahead. Calm and confident, strode forward as shadowy sword-wielders rushed past him on either side. A fearful woman shouted for it to come back, warning him about more than 100 dangerous monsters ahead. A desperate woman screamed for him to stop and begged him not to go any farther into the chaos. Calm and unmoved, decided it did not matter if the woman followed, while distant bystanders wondered aloud if he was really approaching the threat. A powerful necromancer commanded glowing skeletons as confused observers behind him questioned what kind of profession this was and wondered if they should fight him. A calm young man sat on the ground as three armed figures advanced with weapons glowing in the tense silence. Embers floated between a resolute young man and a determined woman as he declared they would not shrink from battle or fear death. A lone figure faced a shadowy crowd as a mocking voice suggested he should serve the Demon King instead of dying here. Smoke curled around as he stood firm, hands in pockets, refusing to retreat from the devastation. A focused young man calculated the best distance for his corpse explosion as a dark red orb hovered beside him. A resolute young man halted in the fiery gloom as one of the watching women asked why he had suddenly stopped. A determined young man raised his hand, blue flames swirling as he declared that this spot would be enough. Blue energy streamed from the young man's hands, flowing straight into the massive cracked skull shrouded in darkness. A flood of skeleton warriors surged forward, and a shocked young man wondered aloud how anyone could possibly control so many at once. The young man with dark hair stared in disbelief as the skeletal creatures rushed at him, thinking they moved even faster than his own agility allowed. Red energy exploded as two skeletal enemies clashed swords midair, each strike sending sparks across the fiery chaos around them. A young man with dark hair slashed his glowing sword at two green monsters, calculating aloud that their strength must be close to 3,000. Calm and calculating, weighed the enemy's resilience and noted that a higher constitution would make corpse explosion even more effective. Unleashed a series of rapid strikes on the furry beastman warrior, noting that defeating them also grants valuable experience. Still summoned a crackling red orb and explained that even a small amount of experience was better than gaining nothing, especially with so many enemies. A fiery blast erupted from the ground as an unseen force triggered a corpse explosion, sending crackling energy through the tense figures nearby. An alert young man watched as a fresh explosion rattled the fiery sky, shouting that he did not understand what was happening. A shockwave of energy ripped through the area as debris and light exploded outward, swallowing everything in chaotic motion. Smoke drifted over the charred battlefield as a shocked young man wondered aloud how it could be possible for so many to die so easily. Frustrated, wondered how the Necromancer could be so powerful, while the crowd around him cheered that they were finally saved. The skeletal figure roared threatening to kill him and boasting that he would drink his blood and devour his flesh. Red energy erupted as shadowy figures swept down, scattering fiery debris through the chaos. The monstrous attackers roared that the humans would be slaughtered as the beasts charged forward with fury. Lined in closer, saying he had finally found the red orb's location. Moments later, a menacing undead attacker with glowing eyes lunged at the front lines in the deep shadows. A monstrous skull-faced opponent shouted furious threats and insults demanding to know his intentions as chaos erupted around them. Gathered energy in his hand and declared that he would use corpse explosion. A blinding surge of energy shot from his hand, and the monstrous opponent howled that he would kill him no matter what. Surrounded by blue flames, demanded to know how his opponent was still alive. The monstrous figure screamed in agony, demanding to know how could wield a skill that burned his soul and questioning his very existence. A heavy boot slammed into the ground, sending dust and sparks flying in every direction. A young man with dark hair raised a blazing red sphere, declaring that punishment was the consequence for those who dared to invade. Curious and alert, glanced at the glowing object and wondered aloud what it could possibly be. An elderly man with long white hair studied the fading glow and said the abyss's power was beginning to weaken. A dark, intense face hovered in the shadows as the figure wondered if everyone inside the tower had already perished. The older man with white hair reached into the smoky darkness and quietly sensed that the Demon King must be wounded, though many people still remained inside. A younger man with gray, spiky hair told the older, white-bearded man he had been worried and urged him not to release his aura carelessly again. A serious man with long hair said the Abyss Demon could bend the rules of the battle space, making even powerful outsiders unable to harm it. A raging demonic figure ordered his fiery army to kill, shouting furiously that everyone must attack and destroy their target. A menacing creature with glowing red eyes pinned a distressed young man to the ground as he let out a strained groan. A young man with dark hair stared in shock at a glowing upgrade notice, wondering if repeated use was needed to improve his skills. Stood confidently before the advancing shadowy figures, thinking it was the perfect moment to face them all. Golden light surged around as he felt a rush of new strength. He realized he had just leveled up. A concerned onlooker wondered aloud who this new class was, marveling at strange leveling method and admitting they would be lost without his help. Summoned red skulls into the night sky and calmly stated that escaping was no longer possible. A monstrous horned beast erupted from the abyss, its red eyes fixed on a young man with dark hair as it announced it remembered. Flames erupted as a corpse exploded, sending blood and energy surging outward in a wave of destruction. A young man with dark hair looked up at the sky and asked the others if they had won now that everything seemed normal. The older man announced that the abyss consciousness was gone, then asked if the kids were safe as the battlefield shimmered with new energy. The older man explained too that all the kids survived, leaving quietly surprised by how differently things turned out. Two cloaked figures hovered above the glowing waterfall as the woman suggested they retrace the battle, and the man agreed to teleport the kids back. A worried young woman called out to see if it was all right, and he reassured her that he was fine. A gigantic, serious holographic figure announced to the group that the abyssal power was gone, and everyone would soon return to their original testing sites. The woman, standing beside, admitted they had not been able to face the orc warriors, and felt grateful for his timely support. A clear voice announced to all examinees that the main combat exam had ended, and everyone should wait for their final score evaluation. A high-ranking man in armor explained that the top academies cared about both exam points and direct evaluations from Shen Empire officials. A young man with dark hair focused on what the evaluation after the battle space might reveal. Suddenly raised his hand and conjured a glowing barrier to shield the vulnerable group from whatever danger loomed beyond. Quietly wondered to himself about the true identity of the person before him. A glowing orb pulsed in his hand as onlookers murmured that his Necromancer class and powerful talents could make him a future top-tier expert. Judges said this year's evaluations were harder than usual, calling deserters unreliable and praising, while deciding to discuss the other teenagers separately. A triumphant crowd erupted in the plaza, and several voices cheered that Old could brag for decades now that was the province's top scorer. A cheerful woman teased by calling him dumb and congratulated him for getting the top score, while he simply thanked her. A girl with long black hair looked surprised as she quietly remarked that was actually smiling. A caring woman asked why he never smiled like this, saying he looked good when he did. A digital scoreboard flashed as a supportive woman, and a gray-haired man remarked that Old had claimed second place, admiring and envying his achievement. The updated listing, and with their points and evaluations beside each name. A determined young man with blonde hair clenched his fists, demanding to know why his evaluation was poor and worrying no academy would accept him. The young man with blonde hair shouted that he refused to accept the poor evaluation and demanded a reason, insisting the decision was unfair. Suddenly, swirling blue and purple energy engulfed a rule-breaking examinee as the exam authority declared expelled, and he cried out in desperation. A voice announced that for combat class professions, this year's top scorer in Ning province was. Then a confident young man raised his fist as the crowd cheered, calling their leader and celebrating that he ranked first in the province. A hush spread as a provincial top scorer and a girl glanced up, both surprised when news of an imperial order naming arrived. A surge of excitement rippled through the crowd as they heard had just been named the top national exam scorer. A shocked man struggled to believe what he heard, asking himself if it was really the national top scorer. A bearded man, radiant with joy, thrust his hand up as others called out, urging Old not to get too excited. Excited voices burst out as the group praised his achievement, saying he was amazing and hoping their children would attend his high school too. A supportive ally congratulated, who thanked her and admitted they would have struggled without her help. Shook hands with the gray-haired character as the short-haired girl suggested meeting at Jing Academy for a meal. A quiet student stood with steady composure while a nervous girl told the others he hardly ever spoke and replied that was true. Told the group there were 26 sentences, leaving them all surprised. Steam lingered in the air as it covered his face, while the gray-haired girl let out a muffled laugh at the awkward moment. A determined young man holding a photo frame told his sister and grandma he would soon attend Jing Academy and was now the national top scorer. A sharp knock echoed and turned to the door, curiosity flickering in his eyes. He opened the door and asked Principal why he was there. A shadowy figure with wild white hair and glowing eyes hovered in the darkness, radiating menace. Focused and sweating, struggled to breathe as he endured the overwhelming force pressing in from the powerful aura behind him. Stood his ground, wielding a glowing sword as swirling dark and blue energy surrounded the skeletal figure before him. The older man, calm and approving, told he had shown quick reflexes. A young man with dark hair gave a respectful greeting to Lord Shen, addressing him formally as the two stern men watched in silence. A man in white bowed as the standing figure told him he had come to discuss Jing Academy and praised his composure and instincts. Soft light fell across a quiet corner, where a wooden cabinet stood beside two framed photos and a vase holding one delicate flower. One man poured drinks at the table, while another explained that sister left for Jing Academy last year, so lives alone. A rare genius from a prestigious family stood quietly in the gentle light, considering how few ever matched his abilities. A calm young man stood before the glowing skeleton warrior, while a long-haired figure asked how he managed such balanced attributes in battle. A thoughtful young man realized others could not see the talent-boosted attributes of his skeleton warrior class. The man with a beard asked if really awakened a talent and explained that his skill amplifies all abilities. A determined man with silver hair explained there would be a reward from Jing Academy and invited the listener to join an upcoming trial. A curious and cautious student asked about the trial, and the older man replied that details would remain secret until he agreed to participate. A thoughtful young man weighed whether to keep the trial secret and decided participation would be his choice alone. The older man told this trial was a rare chance and agreed to join. The man with long gray hair laughed, telling the national top scorer his rewards would be substantial, then conjured glowing skill scrolls on the table. An unseen hand slid a glowing card onto the table, and the older man explained that these points would be even more valuable than gold within the academy. Two glowing scrolls hovered above the ground as the narrator explained the second reward included both a primary skill scroll and an intermediate skill scroll. A stern man with long white hair raised 3 fingers, explaining that the third reward was a rare chance to enter the Divine Summer Tower. Attentive and serious, acknowledged the standing figure's point by saying that anything stressed by Lord Shen must be truly significant. A confident man told someone to tidy up, promising he would take them to Jing Academy. A man in a dark coat stood on a moonlit rooftop and wished the unseen kid below good luck. A glowing tablet hovered in the air as moonlight washed over the palace, casting the scene in a strange, otherworldly light. Two figures stood in silence before the towering, glowing monolith, its golden light reflecting in the eyes of a young man with dark hair. The white-haired man told that entering the gate was dangerous, warning that even top experts would pay dearly, then said it was time to proceed. Lord Shen told he would stay in the residential area for the night, adding that someone would come to guide him tomorrow. A worried young man with orange hair wondered why this newcomer spoke so coldly to Lord Shen despite being personally received. A polite young man asked where he wanted to stay and responded simply. The choices were laid out: shared dorms, single rooms, even villas with training grounds, each with a different monthly point cost. The advisor, a cautious man, urged to save points by choosing a shared dorm, but requested a single room instead. The worried young man warned that spending on a single room now would lead to regret when earning points became difficult later. The orange-haired young man told this room would work and asked for his identity card to register him. A ding sound rang out. The terminal screen displayed a massive balance of 133,605 and a deduction of 1,000 points. Stunned, the other person counted the digits: tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. How do you have so many points? Showed the reward card and explained that the top scorer received 130,000 points, far more than he had ever earned. A cheerful young man with short orange hair stepped out from behind the door, telling the new resident this would be his dorm and advising him to get a communication device. Thoughtful and observant, gazed through the window at glowing pillars rising above the city, remarking that the academy's atmosphere would help everyone level up faster. A blue aura faded as ended his meditation, a soft notification chiming to signal he had finished. Looked down with a serious gaze as the confident woman smiled, telling him she wondered if he recognized her and saying she did. Took the girl's hand and cheerfully invited her to breakfast before promising to show her around Jing Academy. A young man with dark hair quietly picked up a food tray as students gathered in the Jing Academy cafeteria. Paid with points at the counter, and the woman holding a tray asked why he was not using coins since points are not usually accepted here. Explained that he only had points instead of coins, so the girl insisted she could cover him and urged him not to waste points. Stared at the calculator as he realized only 5 points had been deducted, then suddenly exclaimed that something was off. The shocked young woman demanded to know how had managed to collect so many points as he stood silently by the counter. The serious young woman warned to use coins whenever possible, emphasizing that points should be spent carefully, and he agreed without hesitation. Handed the glowing core crystal to the amazed woman, telling her it belonged to the Goblin King as she marveled at its beauty. The young woman told he was really giving her the rare Goblin King ring, emphasizing its incredible value and how much it could trade for. The woman, delighted, called the red gemstone a valuable prize and joked she would not hold back, while watched her thoughtfully. The woman with a pink ponytail told his enrollment was complete, and he immediately asked why there was no record of his sister. A digital profile appeared on the screen, and someone suggested sister might be on a confidential mission or attending a specialized college. Sunlight filtered through the leaves as the confident woman told she wanted to introduce the academy and give him an important task. Excitement sparked in the classroom as a woman in pink approached the long-haired man, while someone announced they had brought the national top scorer. A young woman with pointed ears shook hands and introduced herself before, replied with his name and class. Sat on the ledge clutching his mystical staff, and complained that someone was only level 17 and questioned why anyone could bring just anyone along. If you'd like to see your favorite titles retold, leave a comment and I'll be sure to pick some of them up from time to time. Also, let me know which video format you like more, long videos or short ones. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again soon.